So, today's PTB, boys. PTB for DVD. It looks weird, dude. It looks like something straight out of like, Outlast. In my honest opinion, if I'm being honest. It looks like something straight out of Outlast. Oh my god, dude, as soon as I turn off the aircon, it's fucking sweating in here. So today we are doing some PTB. We're gonna learn about these killers together and these, the new survive, I think it's killers, because it's like one killer, but they're the same thing, right? Yeah, we'll go through we'll go through like everything. We'll just go through all the new perks, all the new stuff, and we might test some stuff out in the PTB. So, without further ado, we will start the stream. So we'll go through the killer first. She's got some, dude, this is like straight PUBG. She's got a fucking frying pan in her ass. So yeah, she looks like very like old and like, and he looks just fucking, looks like Tyler 1. Power, blood bond. Through forever bond, let me just stop fucking 2 IQing this. Though forever bound through blood and trauma, the twins have been granted the power to separate from their shared body. Together they hunt as a brother and sister, doubling the threat to survivors. Special ability, blood bond. Press and hold the power button to unleash Victor. Swap control between Charlotte and Victor by tapping the ability button. While left on his own, Victor will trigger killer instinct, revealing to Charlotte the outlines of survivors who are walking or running near him. Survivors who can hear Victor's shrieks are susceptible. However, Victor can be crushed by survivors while Charlotte is being controlled. If crushed, Victor will regrow on Charlotte after some time has passed. Okay, so that just like puts her ability on cooldown. I don't know, I guess we gotta see. Well, yeah, it'll be interesting if he doesn't have a heartbeat, because I think that'd be kind of cool. Special attack, pounce. While controlling Victor, so while you control the baby, hold the ability button to charge a pounce and tap the attack button to unleash it. So it's like the Demogorgon dash, I think. So you just charge it up, and then when you click attack, you dash. Successfully landing a pounce deals damage to the survivor if the survivor was at full health. Victor will latch on. While latched on, the survivor will be afflicted with the broken, oblivious, and incapacitated status effect. Dude, that's insane. They'll be unable to enter lockers or leave through the exit, and the auras of nearby survivors will be revealed. So it's like a Legion then. I wonder what the cooldown is for Victor when you like destroy Victor. What like how the cooldown is for that, because it's like sounds pretty nuts. The survivor can crush Victor while he's latched onto them by completing the remove action. So it's kind of like, I'm guessing like Doc, you got to stand still and hold M1 or something. If Victor misses his pounce though, he is momentarily vulnerable and can be crushed by Sala. So he's kind of like dazed for a little bit if you miss a dash. If Victor lands on an obstacle taller than himself, he will be destroyed. All right, so her perks, one of her 3 perks is Hoarder. You protect what little you have and are perceptive to those rummaging through your stockpiles. Receive a loud noise notification when survivors interact with a chest or when they pick up an item within 24 meters of your location. The trial begins with up to 2 additional chests in the environment. But the rarity of items found in all chests is decreased. Next one is Oppression. Life has been difficult for you, so you'll make it difficult for others. When you damage a generator, up to 3 other random generators also begin regressing. Is that just that's across map? There's no meter range for that. If the affected generators are being repaired, any survivors repairing them receive a difficult skill check. That's a 2-in-1 perk. So either they're off it and it starts regressing, or they're on it and they're really like, if they're not a good survivor or they're not like well versed in skill checks, they're gonna fuck it up. And that's gonna let you know where they are. Coup de grace. So we have, as the end nears, you go in for the kill. Each time a generator is completed, coup de grace grows in power. Gain a token. Consume 1 token to increase the distance of your next lunge by 60%. This might like bring back some pretty dead perks. I think this could revive a perk like Unrelenting. Like if you miss a strike, it doesn't matter. Like you just gain so much distance from your lunge, and then you're already back. And if you have multiple tokens, you can basically just fucking like lunge, and then you've basically like blinked like 4 times. It's insane. So each time a generator is, so it's only max 5 per game though, because 5 generators. Elodie Rocotto. Backstory. Born into a lush Parisian household, Elodie Rocotto grew up in a comfortable home miles away from the verdant island of Madagascar. Her parents' birthplace always heavy and usually contained no schoolwork. She carried the essentials, a few history books, some printed maps, and a compact shovel. Instead of wasting away the regurgitated facts from her classes, she explored the city to discover the stories behind each statue, neighborhood, and street sign. She collected bits and pieces of Paris, bits and pieces, I actually can't read today. Bits and pieces of Paris, making it her own. When she was 14, her parents took her to Dyer Island for a business trip. To her grand disappointment, the island was a private site for exclusive members of the Imperiati. She was forced to attend pretentious and awkward social mixes daily. After a few weeks on the island, she met pariahs others, like-minded teenagers who had no interest in being pawns for their parents' political chessboard, on dull rainy nights, she would convince them to sneak out and explore the island unsupervised. One foggy evening, they stumbled upon an abandoned internment camp. Felix, one of the pariahs, didn't want to go in, but Elodie insisted. Inside, they found a strange underground laboratory in ruins. The pariahs grew excited, browsing through the strange apparatuses for trophies and mementos, but Elodie noticed something in the far left corner of the wall, odd scratches in the shape of a circle. She ran her fingernails across the cool concrete. The marks were deep and narrow. A warm whisper suddenly sent her mind adrift. Deep rumbling thunder, black glistening waves, an ashen sanded beach. Incomplete, she was compelled to touch the ice-cold sand and draw a circle with a line in the middle. A sharp thunderclap and lightning whipped the sky. The ground shook as sleek obsidian claws tore through the concrete floor, ripping earth open. The building began to collapse and Elodie spotted her mother wielding a bizarre instrument while her father told her to run. Then, complete darkness. Elodie never saw her parents again. That's, yoikies. For years, this nightmare woke her in the middle of the night, cold, sweating, shaking like a leaf. As a child, she suffered from night terrors and often resisted going to bed. To soothe her mind, her grandma would light a tea candle and tell her stories until the wick extinguished in a hot pool of liquefied wax. Perfume of the warm vanilla-scented wax would lull Elodie to sleep as she envisioned stories of legendary heroes defeating her fear and foes. Elodie had forgotten the story, but she still remembered her longing for the verdant legacy rainforest and colossal mountains that her grandmother described. When Elodie felt cold and numb with grief, she would light a vanilla-scented candle and summon her childhood memories of this distant, idyllic place, raising her spirits to rise above her crippling depression. Dude, same. Except I don't get the candle, and I don't get to rise above it. I just got crippling depression. 14 years later, Elodie still searched for the missing pieces of the puzzle. No rational explanation could explain her parents' disappearance. So she had been looking elsewhere. She researched and had all legends that mentioned a dark force that snatched people at night without a trace. From there, she translated old tales and built a tapestry of narratives from around the world, corroborated in the uncanny way her parents vanished on Dyer Island. She also gathered artifacts made by ancient civilizations who sought to destroy or resurrect the incomprehensible and indescribable thing that took her parents. There were various names for it, offering from one language to another: the abyss, the infinite black, the hole. I'm guessing the entity is what they're referring to, or is this something else? Her findings pushed her further into the dark field of occultism. The pariahs were long gone. She'd alienate them with her theories, but she refused to give up her parents. Elodie had to set out into the cold, misty evening. She turned a corner, leaving Paris's 13th arrondissement, an eccentric neighborhood with a substantial library dating from the Middle Ages. She had pressed work to do for Hazra Shah, the collector, an occult specialist, archived rare artifacts. He recruited her after she'd salvaged the rare stolen Mori statue of spidery fangs, like the claws she'd seen on Dyer's Island. For the next 5 years, Elodie had been procuring occult relics for the collector. In exchange, he provided large sums of money, equipment, and precise information about obscure manuscripts. Just as the collector requested, she had secured the annals of a witch trial, convicting a mother birthing conjured twins. Oh, so this is where she's finding the relation to the twins. Conjured twins in the 17th century. According to legend, an occult incantation was engraved on a set of skulls, all of which the collector possessed except one, the witch's skull. There were no traces of where the skull was now, but Elodie had found a newspaper article dating back to the same year mentioning that most remains had been reallocated to the catacombs to avoid a pandemic. Elodie was acting on a hunch. Breaking into the catacombs to retrieve a lost skull involved certain risks, but no more than the previous work she'd done for the collector. With a flashlight, she followed the ancient layout of the catacombs and spotted a collapsed wall. A few large stones blocked the way. She grabbed her portable XRF analyzer and scanned the materials of the wall. Working for the collector had its perks. The brick mortar that had been poorly mixed, showing high traces of sand. The whole thing was brittle, and the ground was moist from the damp evening air. This was her way in. The journey beneath was long and treacherous. The air was heavy and moldy. She gasped when her keychain flashlight hit an endless wall of bleached white skulls. Jesus Christ. Cracked behind her, she spun around and collided headfirst with a baseball bat. Pain exploded in her skull, and darkness filled her view. When she came to, a man was carrying her over his shoulder, venturing deep inside the catacombs. He was wearing a dark robe, the black veil. She had managed to elude them until now. Ruthless and lethal, they went by many names, sorry. She'd figured out they ultimately all worked for the same group, a ring of occult fanatics rumored to perform human sacrifices for what they called the Old One. She had to get out of here fast. Elodie spotted a loose skull on the wall, grabbed it and smashed it on her assaulter's head. Stunned, the man lost his balance, so she straight up decisive striked him, dude. The man lost his balance and Elodie hit the ground, running, and turned, as she turned a corner, she suddenly felt a sharp pain to her side. She looked down and saw a large blade planted there. Shocked, she removed the knife. The warm blood spurted out. She's a squirter, chat, you know what I'm saying? Her heartbeat rang in her ears as her vision blurred. She fell to her knees, summoning all her strength. She drew a circle on the ground with the shaking, blood-red fingers and traced a line in the middle. An opaque heaviness fell over her shoulders. A familiar scent of vanilla-spiked fruits and lychee nuts coated the air. A thin tropical rain drizzled down the leafy vines. Warmth. Madagascar. A ghostly cry erupted from the thick foliage. Elodie looked up and the vines turned into hissing snakes. The soft canopy soil suddenly turned ashen and collapsed under her feet. She sank into something dense and cold that swallowed her like quicksand. She screamed before being smothered by the abyss, the infinite, the whole. She found what she'd been searching for. Okay, so basically, she's like a modern day Nicolas Cage treasure hunter. Her perks are appraisal. You have a careful eye that notices that many overlook. Start the trial with 3 tokens, 3 whole tokens. When a chest has been opened, consume a token to search it for an item. Oh, that's kind of cool. You unlock chests 40% faster. That's kind of cool. So I think a lot of people are going to be probably running this later. This is going to be really good with the Plunderers build. Deception is her second one. Your adventurous lifestyle requires moments of crafty misdirection. Interacting with a locker while sprinting will trigger a loud noise notification at your location and cause you to leave no scratch marks for 3 seconds. So it's basically Dance With Me, but only for lockers. You no longer enter lockers while sprinting and while this perk is active. I get it. So you want to slow vault into a locker, because obviously that makes no noise. That makes absolutely no noise. Then you want to fast vault out of the locker because it's going to make a notification appear for the killer. You have no scratch marks, so you can run away for 3 seconds. The killer is going to run to the locker, see no scratch marks, and think that you're inside the locker, debating the killer into thinking you're in the locker when you're not. You're long gone. Power struggle. You never give up, and you're not about to start now. While being carried by the killer, reaching 35% wiggle progress activates power struggle. While power struggle is active, you can drop a nearby standing pallet to stun the killer. This kind of seems, it's strong in theory, but any decent killer never walks you through a pallet. So at low ranks, this can be really strong because you just wiggle. If he takes the wrong path through a pallet, you can drop it on your own, which is kind of cool. I mean, you can kind of already do the same thing with Survive with Friends. So this is more of a, usually killers never want to go through a pallet because this obviously makes you susceptible to pallet stuns, and you drop the killer and then you drop the survivor, and then if you're playing with Survive with Friends, it's really easy to pull that off. This perk allows you to do it on your own. She got some sass, dude. You know what I'm saying?